Gotta press the button. I got more buttons to press as I've now got an app I just created. I'm so excited. So excited. You have no idea. TikTok Live monitor. Yeah, that was gross. Close. What is going on? Happy Wednesday. Love a good Wednesday. It's hump day. It is Ask a Traffic Cop time. Someone said, I was watching the show, but I can't remember the name of it. And I get that Traffic Cop as the logo that I created in AI, and former police officer Sean Shapiro may not actually spell it out. But this is Ask a Traffic Cop, and that's why there is a hashtag. I should probably redesign this. This was sort of put together real quick, and it is something I just hadn't thought about until that comment came through. I should probably hit the button that says go live on Instagram. I hope you're having a great day. This has been a great day for me. Oh, okay. I found out something that doesn't work. So what I've done is I've created an app in Xcode, which actually runs on, it'll run on my phone. Can you, isn't it in focus? Focus. There we go. And it's counting down the segments. Isn't that awesome? I created a show clock app. I may actually put it in the store. I don't know. See, now I got the 30-second notice saying I got to switch from my intro to tell you who I am and what I do. And let's do that. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff every single day, even if I'm not online. I torture my family with this too. So if you've got questions about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, then I'm your guy. My goal is to help everybody. I know it's a big goal. I want to help Canadians, not just Ontarians, understand the laws that are the road laws, the ones that keep them safe and keep them ticket free. So the goal is to expand this across Canada. Yeah. If you're a police officer in another region who might want to jump on as a guest, let me know. They can get me by going to trafficcop.ca. There's a form, and that form allows them to reach out to me and say, hey. And there's cops in Toronto who, because I'm no longer a cop, cops in Toronto who want to jump online, get approval from your OIC and come be on the show and answer questions and stuff and things. We're going to talk about a bunch of things, but I really wanted to talk about a tweet that PC Papadopoulos, PC Pappy from Toronto Police put out this morning. And he said 3 cars stopped for stunt driving. I retweeted it and I added some of my own take on things in terms of consequences. But what's shocking is the number of people who don't seem to realize just how serious it is. Like, yeah, people can get hurt. Okay, we get that. People can get hurt because it's dumb to do 50 over. But there's a whole bunch of different reasons that you can, or activities you can engage in that trigger stunt driving charges. But it's a 30-day license suspension roadside. It's a 14-day vehicle impound. You're responsible for all the fees related to it. In addition to that, you're also talking about reinstatement fees for your license when you eventually get it back. But that's not even at conviction. That's just roadside. Once you're convicted, and someone who's stunt driving surely does deserve to be convicted, what do they get? They get a 1 to 3 year driving prohibition. It's up to the bench to determine which one they're getting or what they're getting. I guess depending on how egregious it was, what happened. Was it just they got caught speeding or did they nearly kill somebody? Different situation, right? So there's that. And then there is the concept of, $2,000 to $10,000 fine. That would suck. Then there is the potential of up to 6 months in jail. Yeah. And your insurance is going to go through the roof. Absolutely darn tootin'. Not a good thing to do. Good morrow to Chase, who says good morrow and happy hump day, also from Chase. I see a whole bunch of people pouring into the live stream. Say hello when you get there. If you're so I know TikTok is there and working because I see you popping in. But it doesn't mean that you have to go away. Actually, maybe I'll just log in to my other skipping ads. I haven't seen a whole bunch of ads recently, and then I did. Okay. We got Akela Draconis, who says greetings and salutations from the waiting room. Very good. He's going to be joining us by way of, well, he's not joining us. He's going to be joining us in the replay. Yeah. Oh, and I see Romy, who's just jumped in. Who has let's see here. sent a heart, a gift. Thank you so much. Not necessary, but I appreciate you. And if you'd be so kind as to tap the screen and show you like the live stream, it helps other people find us. And that's just a great thing. It's a great. I'm going to tap my screen. There you go. I'm tapping my own screen. That's from my other account, so I can do that. Now, so Romy Dogra says, does everyone else has to stop at each direction, or just behind? I'm not following what you mean, because maybe part of it was cut off. Maybe there was something before. Do you mean at a stop sign? What exactly are you asking? Because I want to answer your question. We've got Hugh, who says some insurance companies will drop you totally like a hot potato after the conviction, I'm guessing, for stunt driving. Yeah, they don't like it. It's funny. People get really upset about stunt driving. Well, actually, let me go back. People get really upset when they're held accountable for their driving choices. Like I talk about getting a 10 over ticket or being held accountable for any kind of charge. And people go, it's not fair. It's a money grab. I'm like, it's not a money grab. You're choosing to drive in a way that is illegal. If you get hit with a ticket, you done it. It wasn't the cop. They just wrote it down. The bozo who was driving in contravention of law, well, they chose to donate their money to insurance companies, to the city and the province when they get convicted. It's not everybody else's fault that somebody chose to break the law. And then they say, well, if everyone's doing it, we should change the law. Or just follow the freaking law, because the laws were actually developed. They were actually conceptualized, written, determined, planned to make roads safer for everybody. And yesterday, and I had to put it on Twitter because I thought it was so insane, they were trying to justify that different skills should be able to go different speeds. If you're a really good driver, you should be able to go above the speed limit, right? And then they said, it's the same thing about alcohol. And that's where I just went tuning out, no longer listening to you. They were suggesting that if you had a higher tolerance to alcohol, then you should be allowed to drink and drive. I am thoroughly shocked at how some people can spend time coming up with baloney excuses like this for doing dumb stuff, like really dumb stuff. We know that alcohol does not mix with driving. We know that drugs don't mix with driving. We know that speed kills. We know that distracted driving causes an insane amount of collisions. In fact, it is now causing more collisions than impaired driving, just because impaired driving, most people get the message, don't do it. So there's fewer people doing it. Now people have replaced that with other dumb stuff like texting and driving. I actually think, and I've talked about this before, I actually think that we've had more collisions as a result of the distracted driving, because we used to do it like this, like out in the open, but now that we have to avoid getting caught because the law is there with a $615 ticket, the phone is below what people think is visible. Obviously, police officers still see it, still give people tickets for it, but because they take it out of the right in the middle of the like the window, you're no longer looking anywhere near the road. So you used to be like, it's like one eye on the phone, one eye out the window, paying attention. Now the peripheral vision caught it, but now it's really bad. I have called in so many impossible impaired drivers. I've stopped, and when I was a police officer, I stopped so many, and it turned out they were just texting. So if you look drunk when you're about your phone, maybe there's something to it. Maybe there's something there. Curious if my app is still running in the background. It is. That's so good. I'm going to be taking your questions. If you've got questions about traffic safety, traffic law, I'm your guy. Just drop it in the chat. Now, of course, I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. I'm on LinkedIn. I see Paul, who just jumped in with a waving hand. Avandro just dropped in and says, good morning, your Brazilian friend watching again. What is the penalty or fine for drivers who fall asleep while driving? Well, this is a very interesting question. I had one day on the way home, I don't remember if I was an auxiliary officer or a police officer, probably an auxiliary officer. And I had stopped behind a guy who was not moving. Like he was asleep. I couldn't wake him up. I got out of the car. I ended up waiting for a car to come. And he was asleep. He was an Uber driver that was truly trying to make life better for his family. Honest to God. He was working like an animal. But he was exhausted. And he'd fallen asleep. And they had him blow into a roadside screening device. That's the small device that tells you, if you've got alcohol in your blood. You've got nothing suggesting you're impaired by drugs or alcohol, except for the fact that you were asleep. They did that. He blew zero. He was fine. He's just really tired. Did he get charged? He didn't get charged. I I questioned it at the time, but I really don't have a problem with it now. Here's a guy who's just really freaking tired. Could it have been bad? Yes. Was it bad? No. It was just me behind him, and he was okay. Long and the short of it is, could you be charged with careless driving? Were you careless in your decision to get behind the wheel? Did you prove it? I don't know. Being tired is something that you have to decide. Are you being careless by making the decision to get behind the wheel when you're exhausted? Maybe could it be proven in court? Probably not. So it's an interesting question, but I don't think there is a particular penalty other than whatever happens as a result of you falling asleep. And I could be wrong on this. I've never charged anybody. I don't know anybody who's charged anybody for falling asleep or being tired. At one point, I was really trying to make the connection to support a charge of impaired. You're impaired by fatigue, by exhaustion, but it doesn't work under the law. I was trying to go there. It doesn't go there. But I appreciate your question. I'll have to run that by some of my other learned friends and see if they've got a differing opinion. I see a bunch of stuff has come through, and let's see here. Lots of people coming in. I'm sure lots of people want to talk about the news about that inspector. A lot of people commenting in my posted videos about that. Maybe that's what Nahom wants to talk about, or Nahom. I don't know what he's talking about. All right. Bernhard says, morning, Sean. Morning back to you. Now they have Muthna. Is it Muthna? Did I pronounce that correctly? Says, can I drive out of province with a G2? Yes, you can. A G2 driver's license is a probationary driver's license. It has all the rights and freedoms other than the conditions that are outlined. So you can drive anywhere on any road at any time, but there are conditions, and you must abide by those conditions while you're driving as a G2. So that means 0 BAC or blood alcohol content. You can't have any. It doesn't matter how old you are or how good you are at holding your liquor. I still get a laugh out of that guy's comment. And then in the first year, you have two conditions. The first one is within the first 6 months, you can only have one person under the age of 20 in the vehicle after or between the hours of midnight and 5 a.m., except for immediate family. And then you have in the second 6 months up to 3 people under the age of 20. And that's for the clubs, for the bars and things like that. They want to prevent you from being the designated driver who's inexperienced driving in the middle of the night, or I'm guessing that's the motivation behind it. Anyway, that's the case. Those are the conditions. And of course, you have to know that your consequences are higher. You're still a young or learner driver. So if you get tickets, you're going to have the higher consequences. You're going to lose your license faster. But you can totally drive out of province. That was what the question was. Okay. Harpreet wants to know, can you use your phone to pay at a drive-thru? Your license says you can't use your phone. Okay, that is a question about where the law applies. See, there's some confusion as where it is, and there was some media attention, I think it was in Saskatchewan, or where a chap was charged in the parking lot approaching a McDonald's. That person committed the offense on the road, on the highway, and then drove into a parking lot where they were subsequently charged for what they did on the highway. Although stunt driving applies in the parking lots anywhere, just like impaired driving is anywhere under the criminal code, you can use your phone on private property. You're still responsible for anything you do. If you cause a collision using your phone, you'd be responsible for the collision, but you wouldn't be charged for handheld communication device or distracted driving, because the law for handheld communication device does not apply on private property, which is good because I've paid for my coffees with my phone. I love having Apple Pay. I really do. What do we got here? Starts in 1 minute, my Q&A section. We're already in Q&A, so I can skip that. I'm playing with the new app that I see. As I'm using the new app, I'm realizing there are things I must change and update, but I do love it. Oh, it's screwed up. Oh, well. Let's stop that, because if it's not working, I won't use it. Okay. Stand by. Back to the TikTok here. Hey, if you're watching, you don't know who I am. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. I do it here. I do it online. I do it on all the platforms. I even do it on television and the radio on occasion. So if you got questions about stuff and things, drop them in the comments. Tell your friends. Share it, because we want to tell and help as many people as possible. All right. We've got Romy, who is saying... Let's scroll back to Romy, because there was a sign over here. At a four-way stop sign. So the question was, at a four-way stop sign, does everyone else have to stop at each direction? So first person to arrive is the first person to drive. Everyone who is driving and approaching a four-way intersection has to come to a complete stop at the stop bar or at the edge of road at the intersection. If there's a stop bar present, you stop there first, and then you can roll up. And then based on who arrived first is the next person to go. First one to arrive, first one to drive. Oddly enough, the person who taught me that spiel, first to arrive, first to drive, is Scott Marshall, who is a former judge of Canada's Worst Driver. He was the head of, he was the chief instructor for a major driving school. He's also the Safer Driver. If you find him online, saferdriver.ca, I believe is his website. In any case, I was just chatting with him this morning on Tech Talk Chat because I hadn't spoken to him in a while. And here you are asking a question that allows me to quote him. Love it. Okay. Sean, how are you, my friend? That's Jas who's asking. I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. Jeff sent a heart with a crown. Thank you so much. So Nahom or Nahom, I don't know what your name is. Hey, cop, not interested you talking. Oh, sorry. Hey, cop, still not interested you talking. Hey, if you're not interested in me talking, why are you talking to me? Just scroll on by. This ain't for you. Then they followed up with Sean Shah and an ellipses. Actually, it's 4 dots. It doesn't count as an ellipses. And then he, for the person who doesn't want to talk to me or care about what I say, continues to say, highway, it doesn't have speed. Wherever you go speed, you don't get terribly first only, no others, TH. We're going to ignore them because they're not typing very well. Maybe they're impaired on TikTok. Anyway, Cha-Cha wants to know how many demerit points for using phone while driving. That's a reasonable question. So if you're pulled over for handheld communication device, you would be charged for, or upon conviction, you would receive on the first conviction anyway, you would receive a 3-day suspension and 3 demerit point fine, or a fine of $615 that has 3 demerit points attached to it and a 3-day suspension. On a subsequent conviction, you get it a second time. I believe it goes to 7 points and 7 points and 7-day suspension. Let's confirm that. I don't see many people getting multiple, so at least I'm not seeing it. Let's see here. I want to confirm to give you the right thing. Handheld. There we go. So, we have driver ambulance. That's the exemptions. Okay. First offense, a fine not less than $500, not more than $1,000. First and subsequent offense, a fine not less than $500, not more than $2,000. For a second subsequent offense, which means the third time, it is $500 to $3,000. For the first offense, they get a 3-day suspension. Subsequent offense, 7 days. And for a third offense, worded differently, it's a 30-day suspension. I didn't realize that. I must have realized that at one point. That's awesome. So yeah. Where does it say demerit points? Does it say demerit points? 3 or 6. I said 7 earlier. I was wrong. It was 3 or 6. So 3 the first time. I think it's 6 demerit points every time afterwards, which I got to tell you is awesome. I'm waiting for them to also include a administrative roadside suspension and vehicle impound, just like stunt driving, because it's as dangerous. You know, if you're impaired driving, drink drugs or alcohol, you get a 7-day vehicle impound and a 90-day suspension. Maybe we need that for distracted driving. What do we got here? Oh, I see something popped up on Instagram. Tony says, good morning, all. Good morning to you, Tony. Then we've got, can ALPR detect if your insurance was canceled randomly? So I'm going to say no, but I'll explain. So ALPR is a system, the automatic license plate reader, and that system goes out and captures all the information. It says ABC 123, 124777, like whatever the license plate is, it captures it and compares it to a list. The list either has to be populated with information. What it generally is populated with is suspended drivers, warrants, stolen vehicles, generally speaking. Although the Ministry of Transportation does see within 15 days whether or not you have confirmed or unconfirmed status on your insurance, I don't believe that's information that's being checked by police every single time. when you get pulled over for something else, or you get pulled over because they're also checking the ministry site to see if it's unconfirmed. So if you happen to show unconfirmed, then you might get pulled over for that. You could get pulled over for failing to signal for just to test and see, because a police officer in the province of Ontario can pull over any driver on the road just to see if their license status is that of a licensed driver, that make sure they're insured. And here's the funny thing about insurance: if they pull you over, and this is what I used to do, and many of my colleagues, we write stuff down. You make notes. So if we charge you for speeding, let's say, but we took your information for your insurance as well, we have 3 years to lay the charge if we find out later that you weren't insured at the time. So insurance is important. It would not be a good thing to not have insurance, aside from the fact that it's against the law and comes with a $5,000 to $25,000 fine and up to 6 months in jail. Just saying. Excuse me while I sip my tea. Hopefully it's not going to burn me, because it's in my Yeti, and the Yeti just keeps everything so freaking hot. Yeah, I like it when it keeps things cold. I like it when it keeps coffee hot, but tea is next level hot. It is burn your face off hot, and I want that. I want a comfortable tea. Comfortable tea. All right. RCS 1189 says, still thinking about no consequence to falling asleep at the wheel. If a driver fell asleep and drove off the roadway, does there not need to be consequences, careless as that person could have caused an accident or seriously hurt or killed anyway? RCS 1189, 100%, they would be charged in relation to what happened. Drive off the roadway, they're going to get charged, but there would be no way to know what it was that caused them. Like, if they say I fell asleep, we wouldn't know if it was impaired driving. We wouldn't know. I mean, we would if we caught them at the time and we were able to test them. But if this person said, I feel fine, I don't know what happened. I just, 1 second I was driving, next second I was off the road. Would they be charged with careless? Possibly. Possibly not. There'd still be the consequence, because they'd have an at-fault collision if they were the sole operator and sole car involved. They're still 100% at fault. But it wouldn't be a way of linking it back. That's the problem. The burden of proof. You have to be able to, when laying a charge, explain what happened and why you're laying the charge. I don't know if careless driving would be appropriate, because there's nothing to suggest what they did was careless, and others would say, well, they were off the road, so it must have been. Sometimes it's slippery, and maybe it doesn't justify a charge. It might. I'm just saying maybe it doesn't. Colton 8765 says, what about driving expired? What's the consequence for that? Driving with an expired license or insurance or registration? Which one? I need to know so I can answer you most appropriately. Let me go back here to the tickety talk for a second. Harvey Speck says, do all tickets stay on your record for 3 years? All convictions stay on your record for 3 years. And it's not that let me rephrase, they're actually there forever from the police perspective. Police officers can look at your record and see you forever. However, insurance companies can see the active listing for 3 years. So from their perspective, it's gone. Now, if they make notes, that's up to them. They might, know you for 20 years and read everything that you've ever done forever. Okay. But yeah, 3 years for that. Points, however, which is the ministry tracking system, those stay on for 2 years from the date of the offense, and convictions are from the date of conviction. So date of offense means that if you are I don't know why people care about points so much, because if you're not racking up lots of tickets with lots of points, you're not losing your license because of them. Insurance companies don't care about points. In any case, they stay on for 2 years. So if you were to accumulate more than, 15 points, you'd lose your license. So some people are like, I'm going to tie this up in court and delay things so the first points on my license can expire, so I don't add up more of them and lose my license. Yeah, that would suck. Okay, so the driving expired was license. So if you're driving without a license, which is what happens when you drive with an expired license, I think it's just a $360 fine. And the fact that you may not be insured by an insurance company, they could deny you because your license isn't valid, and they insure licensed drivers to operate their motor vehicles operate the motor vehicles that they insure. It's a condition of the insurance. So if you're not licensed, you could have big problems. But roadside, I think it's $360. Let's confirm. No license. $325. What did I say? $360? Bargain discount. No license. No person shall drive a motor vehicle on a highway unless the motor vehicle is within a class of motor vehicles in respect to the person holds a driver's license. Authority seizure. What are we seizing? They don't have a license. Are we seizing the car? I'm just reading the notes out here. Yeah. I've never seized anything. I just charge them for the thing. And then they have to find somebody else to bring it to move the car. Let's go back to... Oh, Stunt 20 says, could be medical issues. If you're talking about falling asleep. Oh, yeah. Going back to the falling asleep causing a crash, very often we have people that appear to be impaired and it's actually diabetic. Their sugar's way high and they're not way low, way high. I don't remember. I am not a doctor. In any case, sometimes it presents as though they are impaired, but it's actually a medical episode, or they have a heart attack. Not that they look like they're drunk. When they have a heart attack, they crash because of a heart attack. Very sad stuff. Rob sent a heart, a gift. Thank you, Rob. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Harvey Specs. Oh, okay. Here we go. Harvey Specs says, I slept in a drive-thru once. I was absolutely exhausted and just came off a shift to get coffee. Someone knocked and woke me up. Yeah, it happens more than you would believe. It's one of those things. You really have to be aware of yourself. And if I, as a driver who's driven long distance, I used to drive to Florida all the time. If you recognize that you are tired, pull over and get a hotel. Pull over into a Walmart parking lot and have a nap. It's a dangerous world we live in now. I'd rather be in a hotel than in my car, but that's just me. Okay. Jazz says, with today, it's so hard to provide for your family. It's kind of hard to punish people for that. See, the problem is context. Like, I don't know if you're talking about falling asleep, but it still shouldn't happen. I think you're talking about falling asleep. Listen, it is not hard to punish someone for hurting somebody. So it's one thing if they fall asleep because they're on their way home because they're exhausted. No harm, no foul because nothing happened and you get a break. Because anyone can get a break. This is actually a great opportunity for me to sort of segue into something I've been wanting to talk about. I am a hardliner when I talk about the law is the law is the law, and you shouldn't break the law, and that's just it. But I'm also not someone without a heart, and not every interaction with police has to end up being a ticket or an arrest. More often than not, a conversation can determine the outcome, and it can be a warning. I'm not saying everybody needs a ticket, and I hope that doesn't. I hope that it's understood that when I'm being a hard ass about charges and laws and follow the rules, because you can't predict a warning. You can't predict having a fruitful conversation where someone takes responsibility and says, I learned my lesson. I'm not going to do it again. Because the goal is, in a warning situation, is for you to learn a lesson. So let me tell you a little story. I was working in 12 Division which was my first place once I went from court officer to police officer. I went to 12 Division. And I pulled over a young man who was driving with either expired plates or an expired license. I think it was expired plates because I let him drive. It must have been expired plates. And he said, listen, I'm just driving my mom to work. Single mom, life is rough. She's been good to me. I make sure she gets to work. She has to be safe. I love my mom. Okay. Your plates are done. I'm real sorry. I'm going to take care of that tomorrow, officer. I gave him a warning. Would you believe that the same person was stopped by the same officer, being me, about a year later, and gave me the same excuse? To which I said, gotcha. Because I'm the guy that gave you a warning last time, nearly a year before. Yeah. Warnings are only good if there's sincerity on that side and the person's going to do something about it. That guy was a piece of crap. He was lying to me. And I took it, If you're going to lie and you're going to say, I got cancer, I forgot. Okay, I hope, I'm not, cancer's a pretty heavy card to play. And I've had people use all sorts of excuses. And I figure, you know what? If your life is that better you deal with, the architect rather than me judge you. But anyway, I've given warnings for things and you know what? I'm not going to go there. But what I'm trying to say is not every situation needs to be a ticket. All right. What we got here? Okay. Colton wants to know if I've ever let anybody drive home if they blew an alert on a breathalyzer. No, an alert's an arrest, my friend. I've actually arrested children of police officers because you blow, you blow. If you're impaired, you don't go away. I'm not letting anybody, would never let anybody go away and potentially hurt somebody when they chose to put themselves in that situation. They knew better and they done screwed up. No, I never did. I have never let anybody go away after blowing an alert. In fact, if I thought they were impaired, I don't even wait for the alert. I just arrest them. Yeah. Okay. Then Colton says, ignore that question. If someone is driving condition to have a breath, let's repeat that. Let's go back because there's a two-part question. If someone has a driving condition to have a breathalyzer, will they constantly be pulled over and checked for it to make sure they have it? You're talking about in an interlock system. So if someone has a previous conviction for impaired operation, then after they finish their first year, there's a second year administrative, and if they qualify, they can apply for an interlock, which means they pay like $350 a month, and then they get to have a machine, a blow box in their car that allows them to blow a breath sample, ensuring that they have no alcohol in their blood. And and then they can they can start the car and then it asks randomly to blow again. I have pulled people over, and upon demanding their license, I see that they have an interlock, but their car doesn't have one. That car is impounded and they lose their license. So yeah, they can be pulled over. If we see that the vehicle has the registered owner has interlock, it won't run without it. So do we check them? It's up to the officer. I have pulled people over to see if they have anybody else in the vehicle that might be providing a breath sample on their behalf, just to double check that the driver is sober. Andy Yalbro says, how come you missed my... Oh, I totally missed it because I was looking for the continuation of Colton's question, who had asked a couple of questions. Your icons look the same. Okay. Andy's question. If a city like Burlington gets a lot of snow and I ride my fully licensed and insured snowmobile down the street, is that illegal? Probably, because Burlington likely has a bylaw that does not allow snowmobiles, so it would be illegal. It's an off-road vehicle unless they specifically permit it, and in certain areas they allow it, but most areas don't. So I would check with Burlington, and I'm going to guesstimate that they are not legal on the road there. They're certainly not allowed in Toronto. I can't speak on behalf of Burlington, but I'm going to guesstimate that it's not legal there. Keswick, I used to know people in Keswick that had snowmobiles and they were allowed to drive them there. Certain places allow it, and it's usually out of major cities. Okay. Need some tea. Still haven't had that tea. I talked about the tea. Worried about burning my face off with the tea. The tea is an acceptable temperature. Hallelujah. Will Nevels asks, hey, if I got into a fight with someone, can I not get arrested for mutual fight? Hey, if I get into a fight with someone, can I not get arrested? Mutual fight. You can be in a mutual, in a fight where you're both choosing to be in the fight, sparring and whatnot, fighting because you're boxing. It's a match in the parking lot, but you can't consent to being beaten. So there's a certain point where the person is no longer capable of defending themselves, at which point your continued fighting with them becomes assault, and then you're arrestable. So it all depends. But yeah, you can have a consensual fight. That doesn't usually happen, but it does happen occasionally. Hey, I want to fight you. Okay, I want to fight you too. The guy gets like one punch and he's on the ground. Now, can he? If the fight stops there, was it mutual? Fortunately, I don't have to worry about that anymore. But yeah, the law in Canada is a little funny. And more often than not, you're going to probably get arrested. Just saying. Okay. What else we got here? Be ignoring YouTube for a bit. Chase says, if someone is too tall to sit in the front and they have a coupe, can they remove the front seat and use the back seat as the driver's seat? Which is a question, which is an homage to Bubba Smith in Police Academy, best movie series of all time. You see, it's not Chips, which was a television series. It was the best movie series of all time. I really have a soft spot in my heart for the Police Academy movies, the original was filmed in Toronto. Is it legal? they're wearing a seatbelt, they're able to safely utilize or control the vehicle, I'm going to say it's probably legal. Yeah, I don't think they were breaking any laws there. It's not the vehicle as was designed, but you can modify a vehicle, and as long as it's still safe, I think it would be if you remove that seat. You'd have to, oddly enough, you cannot remove a seatbelt assembly, so you'd have to have the front seat seatbelt assembly still installed. Just saying. Great question. Brandon says, good morning, all from California. Just wanted to say hi. Can't stay as I'm cooking for first responders. Let's all have a safe day. You all rock. You rock, sir. If you are out there helping those who help others, I appreciate you, brother. What are you cooking? Always hear you always talking about making good food. My brother's in LA, and I appreciate you helping the people that are again helping others. You're awesome. Giselle says, good morning. Good morning to you. Okay, question from Evandro. What is the difference between highway and roadway? Can all tickets be applied? All tickets. So a highway applies to any public road in the province of Ontario. A highway like the 401 is a controlled access highway. That one has rules around it. Like you can't have pedestrians, can't have cyclists, but it is still a highway. Any road, any city or provincial road in the province is a highway. A roadway deals with the section of the highway that is in fact paved. It's or intended as a road. There can be unpaved roads too. Unassumed roads are different. But that's the story. So you have the sidewalk and you have the roadway, and that's all part of the highway. That's fence line to fence line. Things you wish you never asked. Yeah, that's the story. not things I wish. I just get into the deep into the weeds. All right. So Colton says, yeah, I was asking if they run the plate and see the condition, are they going to randomly pull them over to check to make sure they have the device? Also, it's $75 a month, not $300. That is a lot cheaper than it used to be, because it used to be about maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was $350 a month. No, I think it was $350 a month back in the day. $75 a month is like free in comparison. That's a whole lot cheaper. That's a quarter. But maybe it's just become so popular they've reduced the price. In any case, $75 a month for the device. If I was an officer, and it's all going to be determined based on the officer's individual preference. If I saw interlock on the license of the person who owned the vehicle, yeah, I'd pull them over to make sure that the device is installed and to make sure that they're sober. Because again, if somebody, like there's people who try and use hair dryers and compressed air and all these things to try and bypass the device. So having them provide a breath sample might be a reason to stop them. But I can't speak for everybody because not everybody even knows that an I means an interlock device. Yeah. Interesting question, though. Certainly, the interlock conditions were few and far between. I didn't see a whole lot of them on the road. And the ones that I did, oddly enough, came about not because I was looking for plates and finding them. It was because I stopped them for cell phones or speeding or something else. And they happened to have the interlock, and they happened to be in a vehicle that wasn't interlock enabled. I love the question. Thanks very much. Let's see here. Can you pass on solid yellow lines? Driver's handbook doesn't give a solid answer. I like that, Jennifer. The deal is that solid yellow lines mean that the traffic on the other side of the line is traveling in the opposite direction as you. It is a suggestion that you shouldn't, but province of Ontario doesn't have a charge for crossing the solid yellow line or a solid white line. Every other province seems to have a charge for it. So Ontario is the only one that doesn't, and I think it's going to change. They've been talking about changing it. And what's the story? The story is that if you do cross the line to pass or turn, you're not going to get a ticket for crossing, but if you smash into something, you're going to get charged for what you did wrong. And that could include unsafe passing or unsafe lane change or any multitude of things. Now, there's places where it's strictly prohibited, like where there's no visibility, which is what those lines usually mean. Like the solid line, when it's at the bottom of a hill, is because you can't see what's on the other side of the hill. So if you're going to go up the hill and pass, you're probably going to get smoked. There's a reason for the line, but the charge itself is not associated with the line. Yeah, curve of road where there's no visibility, not supposed to do it. That's what you're not allowed to make lane changes then. But it's not because of the line, it's because of the law. If you are watching and you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And you should be following this channel because whether you walk, ride, or drive, I got stuff that might apply to you, that might help you. And that's my goal, is to help you. If you are on TikTok, please smash that like button by tapping the screen, like smashing the screen continuously for the entire live. The more of you that help by adding likes, the more people on TikTok find out about what we're doing. I know a lot of people in the United States today are panicking about the end of TikTok. I actually think that Trump is going to save it. I don't think it's going anywhere. There's a new app that everyone's downloading in the States that's entirely owned by the Chinese government, apparently. Why would that be allowed to operate if TikTok's not? You know what TikTok's actually doing? It's pissing off people who are losing money. That's what TikTok's doing. There are studies or articles supporting the fact that Meta went out and paid a company to create disinformation about TikTok just to discredit them, just to create all this crap to get them taken out. Why? Because they are the best. TikTok is the best platform. And other companies like YouTube and Meta are losing big bucks as a result of sharing revenues with TikTok. Yeah, sounds a lot more interesting than people being worried about indoctrinating their children to be in. All social media is bad if it's not managed, but TikTok isn't bad because it's Chinese or they have influence or connection or security leaks. Everything you download, every app that is free, is stealing your information and selling it to somebody else. Like, wake up. TikTok is not the evil empire. In fact, I think it's the best platform for getting information and education to people. It's why I've been so successful at teaching people online. Anyway, I digress. I'm outside of my my normal rants, but it's an important rant. Okay. Boom. Colton has another question. We'll come back to you in a second, Colton. Let's see here. Boosh, the mouth, says, is it illegal having a tinted license plate cover? See them everywhere, so I'm unsure. There are far too many on the road. And it is, in fact, illegal to even have a license plate frame. Anything that covers any portion of that metal license plate is obscuring it, and it's illegal. Now, the ones that are license plate frames and don't really cover anything, like if you can see yours, to Discover in Ontario, probably not going to get you in trouble. But even a clear license plate cover is illegal. Why? Well, you can see it, right? Why should it be a problem? Well, some of them are polarized, so they prevent the cameras from catching their information. So there's a reason to have those, and it's illegal. And it's just a simple blanket statement. You can't obscure it with anything. Optical clarity is an issue, even with the clear ones. But the tinted ones are absolutely, without question, people trying to prevent themselves from being seen. That's it. It's illegal. $110 every time you're caught. Could you find yourself being summoned to court with a 104 Part 3? Yeah, you can. A police officer who sees you have previous warnings and issuance of tickets for that offense, and you still haven't corrected it, expect to get a summons to court so that you can explain it to the person on the bench as to why you don't give a crap about what the law is. And then the ticket consequence can, I think, go up to $500 or $1,000. In any case, don't get a license plate frame. They are not helpful. In fact, you can even get a charge for having snow and dirt on your plate. So that's a different story, but still an offense. We have... Oh, someone sent I can't even see what the logo is. Can I find it out here? I wasn't paying attention, but I see that you sent a gift. Pabilinog, I can't read your name. Pabilinog? Yog? Apologies. But thank you very much. Colton, is this the same Colton? Two different Coltons? Can AL, yeah, so you're on both sides. He was jumping the queue into the Instagram. Viewer competition there. Okay. Metro Music says, are you glad you can freely talk about politics now? I still try and stay out of the politics. Obviously, I have my own opinions. It really isn't appropriate for me to be. I don't think that actors and what's it called? What are the influencers or people online should really talk about politics unless you're a politics person. And I'm just a cop or an ex-cop who talks about stuff and things. And Simply Harjeet says, are you a real cop in Toronto? I was, and then I left policing. I retired from policing at the end of August. So now I'm a former police officer. That's why it says so on the screen. All right. I try and stay out of politics. Obviously, sometimes my glee of someone potentially, stepping down overcomes. I'm overcome by emotion, and I have to, do a little dance. But I generally stay out of politics. Anyway, moving along. Doggone Matt 11 says hi from Ireland. Hey, brother, how you doing? I've got family in Ireland, so shout out to Ireland. Yeah, my cousin just became a citizen, just moved there to be with their spouse, and I visited Ireland last year. It was a lovely, lovely place, and I hope to come back and visit again soon. Okay, we've got minivan. Oh, minivan video brought me here. Minivan video being the one from my personal car where the guy, was stunt driving and wouldn't let the other person in. I love that video. I hate the driver. At least the driver's actions were pathetic. But yeah, I love I love having a dash cam. Everyone should have a dash cam. You can get them for $50 or less on Amazon. You can get great ones. Like I have one that was like $500. I love it. High definition front camera. Just have anything, an independent witness to what actually happens should you get into a crash or want to post cool videos on the internet. Either way. But Simply Harjeet, welcome to the live. And try and go live. I try and go live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for now, with the intention to eventually go back to Monday to Friday schedule. But we'll see. At least 3 days a week. Oh, I've got a dad joke for later. Oh, God. Let's see here. I'm gonna cut and paste Bernhard's joke. I'm gonna post it here, but then I can put it on screen. Okay, dad joke flagged. You are the only dad joke in the queue. If anyone else has any dad jokes, I do like those for the end of show. And 46 minutes, and I realized I forgot to put the timer on, so whatever. We're not gonna have a timer this show. Can a commercial motor vehicle driver carry beer or alcohol in the onboard fridge to have a drink during off time? I didn't even know you had fridges on those things. I guess if you're a sleeper, you could. I don't know. Well, actually, let me rephrase. It has to be out of reach of the driver. I'm going to assume it's the same as a regular person, as a non-commercial driver. I'm going to make that assumption. But I'm not the authority on commercial motor vehicle rules. There may be a rule that is extra and above what everybody else deals with, but I'll tell you what everybody else deals with. If you have sealed alcohol, a bottle of wine, a bottle of beer, a can of beer, it is sealed from factory. It is out of reach of the driver. Then it's not for immediate consumption by the driver. It's not open. It's not a problem. The idea is in a regular vehicle is that it should be as far away from the driver as possible. Or if it's being recapped, so you've got, let's say, a screw cap bottle of wine, you opened it up, you had some where you were, and now you're taking the rest home, as long as it is sealed and in a parcel, a bag, a package, a box, far away from the driver, it's okay too. In fact, a properly factory sealed bottle can be on the passenger seat. Not a good place in the event of a collision because it becomes a projectile, which nobody wants to get hit with. But there you have it. I think it's the same for you, my friend. I don't think there's any special condition, but I could be wrong because I'm not a commercial motor vehicle guy. I just never got into that. Thomas, is your name? What is the full name? Can I see the full name? Thomas, aka Soundwave. Is that what it was? I was wearing a Soundwave T-shirt a couple days ago. If that's what it is, it's cut off. There's an ellipses. I don't know what the full name is. Okay. If I'm getting a new car and my insurance is already on the new car, can I still drive my old car? If you have transferred the insurance from the old car to the new car, then you have no insurance on the old car and you cannot drive the old car. If you've added it so you have both cars and two policies or one policy with two cars, then yes. Sales CNC says commercial drivers have zero blood alcohol while driving. That is correct. But can they have sealed alcohol in their refrigerator in the sleeper in the back for when they're overnighting? That was the question. Absolutely no driver should have alcohol in their system, but commercial drivers are a zero blood alcohol content requirement. Okay. Jump back and forth. Two different applications. Kyle just sent a comment. Kyle says, I left. Kyle says, and is commenting from X, I think first X question or comment today, might regret that beer fridge if you flip your truck and a few cans burst open on you. No kidding. Secure that fridge. Maybe put a padlock on it. Oh, and then Sales CNC. I'm so thankful for you, my friend. says no alcohol is allowed in the vehicle in the States. Is that specific for commercial motor vehicles? No alcohol is allowed in the vehicle. Must be for commercial motor vehicles. In any case, that's fantastic to know because I didn't know that. I learned stuff from all y'all. I have wonderful viewers, wonderful. It's a community. And I'm so thankful for everyone who knows stuff and things and shares it. Okay. We got 8540 TPS who just joined the live. Welcome. Big fan from Sri Lanka, Scar7728. How's it going? I don't think I've ever had anyone comment from Sri Lanka before. You are the first. Welcome. Well, if you're a big fan, then you were here before. Just welcome back. If you're watching and you have no idea who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer. I used to do this all the time as a member of the Toronto Police. I was a media relations officer, traffic safety programs, and I had a fantastic time helping people understand law and that's specific to traffic and just get the answers to their questions. And now that I've left policing, I'm in a position where I can still do this and help out. In fact, I've helped create an organization called the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education, and bettertraffic.ca is the website. But the goal is to help Canadians across the whole place, the whole Canada. Yeah, I want to help everybody. So I'm looking to connect with police officers across North America and specifically Canada to help understand the laws in their regions, so I can help the Canadians that are out that way. Because I know the Ontario laws, but I don't know the Highway Safety Act in BC. But I do have friends in different areas that I've reached out to. So I've got a friend who enforces the Vehicle Safety Act in Alberta. So I've got some contacts there. I got somebody in Vancouver. Yeah, I've got a couple, but there's always room for more. So if you know a copper, if you're in an area that doesn't have somebody online doing this kind of stuff, they can reach out. They can be on the show. We can have them as a guest. It'd be awesome. And for local police services, I've had the OPP talk on the old show. This is the new show. We can still do it. I love this. It's like being an auxiliary again. I'm volunteering. Okay. What do we got here? So Pablini Yog? I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce it and read it. The question is, I got pulled over and I forgot my insurance pink slip and I have it on my phone. Is that acceptable? In Ontario, the law changed a couple years ago, and you can now have an electronic version for presentation to police. Now, it has to be through a secure app provided by your insurance provider. So my insurance provider just created an app to do that. I haven't even downloaded it, but it is now possible to have your insurance document electronically provided to police. Not a picture of your pink slip. That's different. Yes. Lost my mouse. There's my mouse. Okay. ICC says insurance is ripping us off. Most people think that until they need insurance. And insurance is an expensive thing, and people abuse insurance, which is why insurance rates go up all the time. And they're a business. They're not in the business of charity. They're in the business of risk reduction, paying as little as possible, and they're still amazing to have when you need it. I was hit by a car when I was on my motorcycle, my police motorcycle. That's how I ended up off the road and became a media guy. But the deal is that I thank the big guy upstairs for insurance because I wasn't able to work because of my injuries. And then it really, really helped. And not having that insurance would mean I wouldn't have a truck anymore because my truck was damaged. It was like 20 grand to fix my truck. Oh, it was a separate collision. I got hit 6 months after my motorcycle collision. The police, anyway, I conflated two collisions into one. Okay. Do I have to roll the window down all the way when pulled over? You have to be reasonable, Andy. You have to be able to roll down the window enough to allow for communication. Like some people open it up like that much. And they're like, I can't understand you when you're talking through a quarter-inch gap on your window. Roll down the window. I have to be able to see inside. I have to be able to smell inside. I have to be able to make observations. And you're hiding something when you don't roll down the window. Why are you being I was going to use a word, but dinkus isn't really a word. So why are you being a dinkus? I can use dinkus. Yeah, just roll down your window. Like what? Like it's cold? You're too cold? Yeah. Now let's see here. Nicholas Rizzi says, because of the TV cop cliche, did you get nervous when you were 2 days away from retirement before you retired? I was not looking forward to it. It's such a mixed mess. I chose to retire before I turned 50 or to pull the plug, but it's not because I didn't love policing and I didn't love what I did and I didn't love the people that I work with. I still love policing. I still love the people I work with. I was thoroughly enjoying what I was doing, but my family needed me. So did I regret, or did I get nervous? Yeah. Being a cop is what I always wanted to be, and then not being a cop and running to that line in the sand where it's like I'm going to cross it and I'm not going to be a cop anymore was not fun. And I still dream about my work. I still dream about cases, a little PTSD there. But I still, my life is, it's hard to not be a cop when you're a cop. I'm a cop at heart. I'll always be a cop, even though I'm not a police officer anymore. So, yeah, there's a lot there, lots to unpack. Nicholas continues there and says, before you retire, is it true by law at some point you have to say, I'm too old for this shit? Wonderful reference to Lethal Weapon. Oddly enough, I think that the actor who said that was like 40 when he made the movie. I want to go watch Lethal Weapon right now. All right. You're awesome, Rizzy. Paul says, love the beard. Is it allowed now when you're on the force? And a salute and thanks emoji. You're allowed to have a beard. You've always been allowed to have a beard. If you look at the original Toronto coppers back in the whenever Toronto first had constables, they all had beards. It was kind of a thing. And then it became a regulation length where you could only have up to, I think, an inch of growth from the skin. And I had to maintain that all the time that I was a police officer, or I shaved during some times, or you were allowed to have a mustache or a full beard, but you couldn't have a goatee. Toronto was the last police service in Ontario to adopt the goatee as under rules and regs to truly permit it. Everybody, York Region was allowed to have goatees, but we couldn't. And then once I was allowed to have a goatee, I shaved the beard. I had a goatee. I was hip. I was happening. I was cool. And then I started to grow the beard again. I'd go through the thing. Like I'd keep the beard, and it was all nice and sharp. And then if I screwed up accidentally, then it was a goatee for a while. Anyway, trials and tribulations of people who have to follow rules and regulations. Okay. Let's see here. We got Back to the Basics. What is this? Back to Basics. No, they hate me. Officer Manny Joy. Let's see. Do you need to memorize the HTA in order to become a police officer, or do they want you to have a good understanding? All police officers take Highway Traffic Act courses in the police college, which is provincially run. I happen to have more experience because I was a traffic officer, and then I was a traffic geek. So I voluntarily knew stuff. I laid a lot of charges. A lot of people just lay the charges they know. 3 charges, that's what they lay: speeding, careless, license plate invalid. And they get really good at those. If I saw something, if my spidey senses were tingling, if there was something outside of the norm, I laid it. I testified to it. I learned it, and I developed this wide breadth of understanding of different laws. And then I read a lot, especially after I was off the road. I had been a motor squad officer. And after my collision, I was in a position to be administrative and learn more because I wasn't running around. I was able to read and educate myself about more stuff and things. So I actually did learn more because I kept getting questions from people saying, hey, what can I do here? And I'm like, oh, let's look it up. And I look it up, and then I explain it to other people. And by teaching other people, you learn even more. And when and actually teaching everybody online has allowed me to really cement in the understanding. But thanks so much. Okay. We got, what we got? Paul. Fanzanoon. I love that word. Yes, Fanzanoon. He keeps telling me that people are Fanzanoons when I'm looking for, I guess, and Fanzanoon is better than Dinkus, I got to believe. I got to say. Carl Freeman says, good morning, Sean. Good morning to you. Let's see what time it is. Okay. Apparently, we're 1 minute away from an hour, and which means I got to wrap it up soon. Can I do any impressions? I can do some, but not really good ones. Other than, which I think, Optimus Prime, but it's like me talking 2 octaves lower, and it's just me. But Mikey Mike's 91. Were you all bullied as kid? Why so mean? Mikey, you don't know me. If you think I'm mean, you are wrong. But I do know the rules, and I do believe that they are there for a good reason. Letting people uh, get away with stuff isn't being nice. It's not being nice. You're actually negatively impacting the planet by letting dumb people do dumb stuff, or by letting smart people do dumb stuff. Anyway, traffic laws are there to help people. If you don't enforce them, you're letting people develop really bad habits. Not being mean. Your parents aren't mean when they tell you to go to bed early and do your homework. They just want the best for you. Well, police officers are like parents for everybody, even if you don't like being told what to do. Oh, yeah. Back to basics says, my phone died. Not sure if you answered my question. I absolutely answered your question. And the best way to get it, because I don't want to rehash the whole thing, is to go to the YouTube channel, VoiceOver Cop, and watch it again, because it's all recorded. All the episodes are there. And when I finish this episode, I will download it and put it up as a podcast. But you can totally get the answer that I so eloquently crafted just for you right there to play back. Okay. Are you allowed to drive a rental car that's under a parent's name? Legally, from the perspective of the police, if you are a licensed driver for the class of vehicle that you are going to be driving, then you can operate that motor vehicle legally. You will not be insured unless, you will. The rental company wants to name all drivers that are permitted to have control of that vehicle, and they would likely say that we are not insuring any driver that was not specifically named. So if you borrow a rental car and you're not named as a driver, you're in trouble, because they may have a policy that says their insurance does not insure anyone under the age of 25, which is often the case. Don't drive a rental car that you're not named for. It's just a bad idea. And an emergency is an emergency. You figure it out, but not because you just want to go to the store. Sahil says, hi, Sean. If I click on my phone to accept the Uber ride, would I get a ticket? So I think you mean ride versus right, but the deal is that if you were to touch your phone, hold your phone, look at your phone, and it's in any mode other than GPS or telephone, where it's just like the lock screen, yeah, you're breaking the law. You can be charged. Yeah. Will you get charged for accepting a ride? Generally speaking, police officers are looking for someone who's engaged in the use of their phone. If you're holding it, absolutely, you're done. But if it's mounted and you just press a button and that was it, you probably won't get into trouble. If you're reading it to find out if it's the best deal for you, or like you're focused on it, you're using it actively, you're in trouble. Like, you definitely going to get charged. Just saying. There's no exemption for Uber drivers, so $615 is not worth it. Park your car legally. That's when you search for rides. K2 Chen says, keep up the great work, Shap. Thanks, brother. Abby Matthews 1 says, can you go 10 kilometer over the speed limit? Can you? Legally? No. 1 kilometer is breaking the law. The speed limit is the limit. It's not the minimum. It's not a suggestion. It is, in fact, the law. Do people do 10 over? All the time. Why? Because police are too overwhelmed looking for the people doing 25, 35, and 45 over the limit, that the 10 kilometers tend not to be addressed. Now, if you're on the highway, the 400 series highways, you're probably not going to get pulled over for 10 over. I don't think I know anybody who would pull a highway driver over for 10 over, because, again, there's such an abundance of people going way, way, way faster. But if you're in a 30 zone, in a school zone, you do 10 over, I would charge you. I would charge you without hesitation. I would give you the ticket. I would not reduce it. I would not be nice about it. There's kids involved, and you should know better. That's my story. Does that mean? Was that mean? That's not mean. I'm not trying to be mean. Let's see here. Matt the Kid says, any tips for going through a psych evaluation? I'm afraid I'll get judged because I look younger. You know what? Looking younger and acting younger are two different things, but I totally understand your situation. There were doctors who would always tell people they don't have enough life experience, but that's not because you look young, because you don't have the life experience. That's the whole point of these conversations. So if you've got life experience, if you've got times in your life when you were challenged with all sorts of different, challenges, situations that made you have very adult responses to them, then you're likely going to be able to rock that interview. If you have just gone to public school and high school and college, and you've never done anything in your life of substance other than go to a couple of parties, well, then you'll have less to draw on when answering the questions. And that might be difficult. But if you've had loss and love and hardship and and dealt with conflict and all sorts of things, then you're probably a really good candidate. So I don't know you, unfortunately, and I wish you the best of luck. We need more great people out there serving the public. The public needs you. So I wish you luck. If you have questions, if you do have some stuff, you can always go to trafficcop.ca, and there's a button there. You can send me a message, and I'm happy to chat with you about it. Let's see here. AJ Malibu says, hi, I see the MTU is stepping it up in Ontario lately. That's a good thing. Trump is going to save it. MTOs and Trump? What's that? I don't see the connection to Trump and the MTO, but I do hope. Oh, I think that you're saying that Trump is going to save TikTok, and I hope you're right. Every time I see a Ford Explorer on the street, I get scared instantly. That might be overreacting, but if it keeps you following the rules, then that's fantastic. But just think, we have minivans, we have SUVs, we have tiny little cars, we have all sorts of police vehicles. Not all of them are marked, so the police could be everywhere. As a civil servant, are you allowed to use Red Note? I've not heard of anyone saying you can't use Red Note. Red Note is, which is ridiculous, because because of all the manipulation in the U.S. media, that was funded likely by the big companies like Google and Meta, and they are losing ad revenue, so they, I think, did some espionage in the industrial kind of way, and screwed over TikTok. That's the reason they're getting so much attention. Should Red Note, which is allegedly entirely owned by the Chinese government, be a concern? If one is, all are. But anyway, I digress. I'm not aware of anyone saying they can't. Toronto Roadcam says, saw 2 Porsches in the 400 yesterday. Both had no plates at all. I wonder if they had permits like in the window. But I pulled over people who had no plates, nothing. Excuse me. They were all going out of province with special permits in the front window, which used to be more popular in the old days. If a person doesn't yield to a transit city and an officer is near, what will happen? They'll get charged for failing to yield to a bus that's servicing a bus bay. Gang says hello. Hang on a second. Where'd it go? Turbo Taxi says, were you at King of the North on Saturday? I was at King of the North on Saturday. I go to King of the North, generally not on Saturdays. I'm generally at King of the North on different days. But I was there on Saturday. How did I go? I had to go there first thing in the morning. Yes, I went with my buddy. I went with, I was there with my buddy, who was showing me lots and lots of videos on his phone from his recent trip to Thailand. Took his whole family to Thailand. What a great trip. He ate a scorpion. Like a deep fried scorpion. He got his kids to eat a scorpion. The videos are all on his YouTube channel. I'll have to ask him if he wants me to promote his YouTube channel, where you can see him eating scorpions and all sorts of interesting foods. He got anyway, I get into this. They were taste testing everything at 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven all over the world. He was in Japan, 7-Eleven. He was in Thailand, 7-Eleven. Apparently the best food ever. I don't know. Matthew Runaway says, is there any course certificate you recommend that would help in the hiring process? Example, PAL or restricted license, or PAL, restricted PAL. Here's the deal with getting hired as a police officer. It's not about, I think, any particular course. I think it's about a continued commitment to education. If you're out there learning languages are huge. If you're learning specialties like, I think accounting is always my example of a great thing to have. Learning stuff that's specific to the job. You don't need a PAL to become a police officer. We're going to teach you how to shoot a gun, how to handle a firearm safely. It's part of the curriculum. You got to pass it to get through. Do they care if you have your PAL? No. I had my PAL since I was, then it was FAC, since I was 16. Was I a more competent shooter? Sure. I had way more experience than other people who'd never handled firearms before. Did it change my hiring? No. Didn't make me a better hire option. Having experience talking to people, being involved with the community, volunteering, those are the kind of things that are really good. If you want to really do something good for your hiring process, get involved with your community and volunteer, not because you want to tick the box, because you want to help people. If you have a legitimate desire to help people and you're committed to serving the community that you are wanting to serve, you're serving them already, This is good things. And education-wise, anything that helps you help them, like anything that makes you a unique hire, like languages help them. They need languages. If you learn how to fly a plane, could it help them? Possibly, maybe. I don't know. But just doing stuff that they're already going to train you to do, I don't think it benefits because you still have to take the course. SJ Jude says, hope retirement is treating you well, brother. You know what? It is an amazing thing to be here for my kids every morning and every night. It is an amazing thing to be here for my wife to help her out when she needs me. It is amazing to be here for my family. And it's my family that ultimately is the reason I left policing, is because they needed me closer to home, more available, because they needed more help. And if not for that, I would probably still be a cop right now. Okay. Vasco Dahlia wants to know if I was, let's see. Hey, Sean, I just wanted to ask if you were against stunt driving on private property. Am I against the law that prevents stunt driving on private property, or am I against people stunt driving on private property, which is against the law? I'm against people doing dumb stuff in cars. If you want to stunt drive, which is like burnouts and drifting and so on. By the way, I'm watching an amazing show, which is actually fairly old, on Netflix, Hyperdrive. It's like a what is it like? It's like a American Ninja, but in cars. They're doing these amazing. If you like car racing and if you like drifting, check out that. I'm pretty sure it's called Hyperdrive. Am I going to double check? Yes, I am going to double check before I send anyone away to do anything. Netflix Hyperdrive. I think that's what it's called. Hyperdrive. That's what it is. Elite street racers from around the world test their limits in supercharged, blah, blah, blah. Apparently Netflix is coming out with a season 2. I'm really enjoying it. My kids are less interested, but it's awesome. And yeah, if it's a legal track, if it's a permitted event, I have no problem with people stunt driving, because that's what racing is. I have a problem with it when it's on public property or private property. Private property, Canadian Tire parking lot, and someone's doing donuts and burning up the asphalt. They're actually damaging the concrete that somebody paid to put down. So I'm not okay with that. If that's what you're asking. Peter B 1965 says, for speed cameras, how much over the limit can you go before you get a speeding ticket? I don't actually know. I don't know because they don't tell me, because they don't want me to tell you. And it's plausible deniability. The deal is that I would guesstimate 8 to 10%. I mean, it's not meant to be on the mark, but it's there's some leeway. And if you're getting a ticket, you've gone beyond that. So just aim not to speed. People say, I can't do 30. My car will idles faster than 30. Baloney. My car does not idle at 30, nor does yours. I don't think. I managed to keep it at the speed. And I've gotten to the point where in areas that are 30, it kind of feels fast to go faster, because I've imagined life as a 30 kilometer an hour zone. I'm okay with it. I can deal with it. Just leave early. Abby says speed school zones make sense. See, yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Abby. All right. How can you watch anything with Mel Gibson? Like before, like there was a period of time that I was anti Mel Gibson. I don't know anything about Mel Gibson now, but the original Lethal Weapon, I forgive anything political, anything ridiculous, and I can still watch it because I love those movies. They're my childhood right there. Not that I wanted to become a cop because of Mel Gibson, but I certainly enjoyed the ride of the Lethal Weapon series. Not the series, not the TV show. TV show was crap, but I like the movies. Okay. Brian Max, what's going on, brother? Brian Max joining us on Instagram. And Raging Cajun says, will a GPS help me from getting lost in Shappy's beard? Oh, brother. Harold is always the next level. Canadian, not Cajun. Canadian. I misread his thing. Let's see here. Tom wants to know, if you go through a ride program, can you be charged for anything not related to the ride program? Yes. So if your vehicle got one headlight, could you be charged? What would happen is this. If I'm stopping you under the rules and regs of the or the parameters of the ride, I'm stopping you randomly for ride, then I'm stopping you for ride, and I shouldn't be doing anything else. However, Before talking to you and saying I'm stopping you for a ride, I say, excuse me, your headlight's out. I'm stopping you for that. Well, then you're stopping them for that. Just because the ride program is going on doesn't mean that you stop that person for the ride program. It means you stopped, right? It depends on what I say. If I say I stopped you because your headlight's out, then I could charge you for that. Generally speaking, when we're doing a ride program, we're not looking for other things. We're not looking for an expired license. If we happen to find it, could we charge you? Potentially. I mean, it's been done. Is it wrong? Should I let you drive away with no license? No. Can I stop you anyway for no license? Could I find out that you have no license and have another officer follow you down the street and pull you? I mean, it's about how ridiculous it is. Is the mission of the ride program to find other things? No. If we find other things, can we not see it? Can we unsee it or hide it? No. Let's see. I love the question, though. It makes me think outside of the areas we usually go. Let's see here. Tony A. Duarte says, with your cast knowledge of policing and HTA, would you consider teaching? I think you mean with my vast knowledge of policing. I have thought about teaching. I thought about teaching at the Ontario Police College. I thought about teaching at the Toronto Police College. I thought about teaching at Humber or at any number of the colleges that teach foundations, because I've actually lectured at them about other things. So I have discussed it. I have talked about it. I don't know where I'm at with that yet. There's a lot of stuff I want to do, and teaching is something I have a passion for. So you never know. Maybe at some point. Oh, Tony caught before I even read his question. He corrected it with vast. Tony, it was a typo, not intended, and he corrected it. Let's see here. The Knight of Ghana says, I have too many police tickets. Is it possible that I'm excessively policed? Did you do the things you got ticketed for? Did you violate the laws that you were held accountable for? If you're guilty, then you were not excessively policed. You were held accountable for the crap you were doing. If you were innocent, then you're being harassed. It's a totally different situation. Balls1 says, if I'm driving and I suspect an impaired driver on the road, do I have to pull over before calling 911? If you don't have a Bluetooth or CarPlay, I'm shocked. But under the law, if you are calling 911 for an emergency purpose, you are permitted. You're exempt from the law that says you can't use your phone. You're calling for a legit reason. So you could dial 911 because that's what you do. You dial 911 because the priority is public safety. Sort of the same principle as to why police officers are allowed to use their phones while they're driving. There are 911. They are it. If they have stuff that is related to, public safety, officer safety, there's a priority and they can do it. And this is a similar situation where you're allowed to. I got to go, but I still want to answer questions. This is terrible. I'm in a predicament. I've gone 17 minutes over already. Are yellow headlights legal? Yes. Bazzi sent a gift. Thank you so much. Nicholas Rizzi sent hearts and hugs. What do we got here? Okay. Toronto Road Camps says he chucked his Lethal Weapon DVD set, all because of that man. We'll have to talk about this later, Toronto. Okay. What do we got? Covered that. Can someone be charged for bribing a cop? For attempting to bribe a cop, you can be charged. Yeah, it's not allowed. Not allowed at all. It is bad. Carl says, you're doing a great job. Thank you very much. Mohammed says, can you get charged if you accidentally do a U-turn meant only for emergency, or would he let you go? The discretion of would they let you go is up to the individual officer. Could you be charged? Absolutely. If you are disobeying signs, you could be charged. Does a speeding ticket affect you if you get hired as a cop? Your driving record is absolutely something that can impact your ability to be hired. If you have more than 6 demerit points, Toronto Police won't hire you. I don't know if that's across the board or just Toronto, but it is something they openly say. Here's the deal. If you are applying to a job that is to protect others, to serve the public, to follow the rules and enforce the rules, you need to be following the rules now. If you can't wait until, I don't follow the rules. I got a terrible thing tells me I don't pay attention. What does it say? It says that you're not going to be someone who's going to be easy to manage. It means somebody who's not going to do the right thing and is going to require constant supervision. Police have to be, What is the word I'm looking for? Not regulating, motivated. Do the right thing without someone standing over you. You can see what happens when people do the wrong thing. You see it in the media when a cop gets in trouble. That's someone who did the wrong thing. We need people to do the right thing. So anything that indicates that you do follow the rules is a good thing. Anything that suggests you don't is a bad thing. But 1 or 2 tickets is not going to prevent you from being hired. Stunt driving ticket, probably going to prevent you from being hired. Just saying. Let's see here. Oh, there's a whole discussion here saying if you want to be a cop, you have to pretend to be someone who obeys the law. Yeah, believe what you want to believe. If you're driving and being on a phone, is that a big fine? $615, 3 demerit points, 3-day suspension on your first conviction. Which is big, yeah. What do we got here? Could highway tailgaters be fined? Yes, they can. This is twisting too much to see. By the way, Creator Steve, how you doing? Can I go 400 kilometers an hour with my 2025 cover? You got a car that goes 400 kilometers an hour? I call bullshit. And second, no, it's against the law. Do Ontario police have quotas? I've never had a quota. As a Toronto police officer in the province of Ontario, never had a quota. Did my bosses expect me to go out and do work? If I was there for 10 hours and I didn't have any tickets or have any calls, there'd be some splaining to do, Lucy. But no, I'm not aware of any police agency having quotas where you are going to be disciplined for not writing a ticket. You have to be busy. So if you do radio calls, you may not have time for tickets. I know guys who have not written a ticket their entire career. Okay, when they were rookies, they were being taught. But outside of that, they had no tickets. Can I ride an electric bicycle if my license is suspended for a DUI? That's from Ninja. So actually, no, because you're not suspended. You're disqualified. And it's a criminal code disqualification, which means you are not allowed to drive a motor vehicle under the criminal code. Well, under the criminal code, the definition for a motor vehicle is anything other than muscular power, which oddly enough includes an e-bike. An e-bike is only an e-bike provincially and only under conditions. So yeah, you can be charged for drive disqualified. Yeah, just like you can be charged for impaired operation on an e-bike. Yeah. Miles wants to know why I retired. I retired for family reasons. Wanted to be closer to home to help out more because my family needs me. Good morning from Vancouver, BC. We're out for a day of fair enforcement. Be safe out there. Boxer Dogs 32. That's awesome, brother. I got to come out to BC and visit. But you be safe out there. Fair enforcement. I like it. Fair being fair, like for transit patrol. HD Evans says, you would be the best teacher. I might be the best teacher. Of the best teachers, we are the best teachers. I can't do Trump. I can't impersonate Trump. Occasionally, anyway. Let's see here. Got a speeding ticket going 68 and a 60. Should I fight it? Was it reduced, or was that your actual speed? And was that automated enforcement, or was that a police officer? If it was automated enforcement, 8 kilometers over, and you're getting a ticket, it's only financial, and you were probably doing it. I wouldn't fight it. Personally, I wouldn't take a day off court or day off work to go fight that for that money. If you're talking about, I mean, it is double the regular price. So a $40 ticket, because it's an automated enforcement, it's in a community safety zone, so it's double. So a $40 ticket by a cop would be an $80 ticket, but there's no consequence. There's no negative impact on your driver's license. So I think you got a gift. If you got to buy a copper, I still think if you're guilty, you're guilty. Aloha, Philippines. My brother from another mother, the T-Dot cop, is saying hello from the Philippines. I thought you were back already. I've been seeing pictures of okay, now. What am I? I haven't been to the Philippines. I need to go to the Philippines. Okay. I miss you too, man. Okay. We got here. Ninja says, I pled guilty to 2 DUIs 3 years ago. Could I still get jail time for it now? I don't know are you still disqualified? Is it a lifetime disqualification? What I need to know more before I can give you an answer for that. Is it true as a DZ driver I cannot drive? So a commercial driver cannot drive my personal car only with one degree. No, your license doesn't prevent you from driving a non-commercial vehicle with more than zero. If you've got a if you're driving a personal vehicle and you have more than zero, you can it doesn't impact you because of your license. Just like if you are a G-class license who's 22 years old and you're driving with more than zero but less than the legal limit, but you got your M2 now. The M2, when you're driving a motorcycle, has conditions that you can't have alcohol in your system. Well, yeah, when you're driving a motorcycle, but not while you're riding a motorcycle, not when you're driving your car. So it's all about what you're in. If you're in a commercial motor vehicle, then you can't have any. Creator Steve says, "Be a firefighter. Policing is very difficult these days." You're not wrong. Creator Steve is a retired police officer, and you know what? Nobody wants a centerfold or a calendar with our stuff on it, but they love the firemen. Firemen can do no wrong. Creator Steve says, "Nope, cops can write as many tickets as they like. No quotas." When people ask about quotas, I usually go and talk about chips because Frank Poncherello, the best of the best there, said he asked his sergeant, and his sergeant told him he can write as many as he wants. There's no quotas, there's no limits. Creator Steve follows up with, dude, your beard's killer. Look like you could build me a beautiful mahogany table." That's what I'm going to get into, is woodworking now. Okay. I really have to go, but I'm gonna scroll through the last 5 questions and then do the one dad joke that I got, unless there's more dad jokes. How do you reschedule a court date? You need to send a representative to the court or apply in person to request it. It's an application to reschedule. What's your favorite donut? I don't know why people are obsessed with donuts. I'm not a donut person. I do, however, appreciate raspberry-filled Krispy Kremes on rare occasion. The Real VR says, "Good morning, Sean. Morning, everyone. How you doing, my friend?" We got, can you drive an ATV without a license? Not on the road and not on a trail. Can you do it on a trail? I'm not an off-road person, but on the road, in the areas where they're legal on the road, you must have a license. If you're on your private property, you don't need one. The Grinch says, "Hey, nice to see you." Good to see you, Grinch. Open a donut shop. Now, I'm not that invested in donuts. Creator Steve says, "Have a great day." And that's all the questions. Oh, no, there's here on LinkedIn, Harold Wax, who says, I got you on the other side. I already got you, or you got me. Harold Wax is also the raging Canadian. All right. The one dad joke that I've got, and then I'm out of here. Did you hear about the sensitive burglar? He takes things personally. Love dad jokes. Need to get them more scheduled and in there. I got to go, but my name is Sean Shapiro, and I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, and I'll be doing this again on Friday morning. So come on back, and if you don't follow me already, please do. Share this with your friends. You can also listen to me on the podcast format. Now, I'm not recording a regular podcast right now, but all of these episodes are downloaded and shared in podcast formats on your favorite app, so you can listen while you're driving and not break the law. A lot of people, oddly enough, break the law listening to me while they drive when it's using YouTube or one of the other platforms. Anyway, be safe out there. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you on Friday. Also, follow Ask a Traffic Cop, new channel on TikTok. Once we hit 1,000 followers, I'm going to try and sub the live stream up on there. Have a great day.